Demon Hunters is everywhere, and it has everything you could ever want. Fire music, amazing characters, and looks fit for your Napalm era. However, did you know that those fits are actually filled with some insane lore? Hello Internet, welcome to Style Theory, the show that's ready to show you how it's done. Bum, bum, bum. I'm sorry, I've been listening to that non-stop. Like the rest of the internet, my entire personality for the last month has been consumed by K-pop Demon Hunters. And I mean consumed. My Spotify, my feed, even all of my group chats are all focused on this movie.
Also, can someone tell me why everything on the internet, and I mean like every quiz, horoscope, everything, keeps telling me that I'm mystery? I am not mystery.
And while I could spend hours, and I do mean hours, talking to you about the significance of Rumi's specific patterns or the hidden meanings behind each song. Malisoda pop, Malisoda pop. Wait, are they talking about? Instead, I want to talk about something that I've been trying to cover on this channel since the literal beginning, and that is K-pop fashion. I'm so excited because not only is this movie a mastery of animation, it is a love letter to K-pop fashion.
Every single outfit we see Huntrix, the Sasha Boys, and just about everyone else wearing in this film is bursting at the seams with so many deep cuts honoring not just the history of K-pop, but Korean fashion as well.
And since I can't really sing, I'll have to rely on sharing Easter eggs to help heal the Hanmoon. From Rumi to Jinu, OGs to the potential sequels, we are going to uncover the fashion mystery. I said I am not mystery. Okay, relax. Just sit back, grab some ramyeon, and get ready to learn everything you need to know about the style of K-pop Demon Hunters. The movie centers around Huntrix, a girl group destined to solidify the Hanmoon, which is this kind of sheet music-looking blanket that covers the world and protects it from demons. Their goal is to turn it golden. You know, like the #1 song on Spotify above actual IRL K-pop groups. I mean, yeah, they really are going up, up. Am I okay? They're going up, up. What is happening?
Does this look familiar? Well, you need Gamer Supps. Gamer Supps GG energy drinks have vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and no sugar.
To get the energy that you need to marathon watch something like, say, Style Theory, and get a sweet discount, go to gamersups.gg/stylequeen and use code StyleQueen to save 10% on your Gamer Supps order today.
But more than being idols with just their music, their fashion is also doing the work, both by inspiring a whole generation of cosplayers to go out and make these outfits, but also by bringing K-pop fashion to the masses. Also, I'm going to be doing my best with these pronunciations as someone who is not Korean and is very American. So please be kind and know that I am looking up pronunciation guides and doing my best. We really respect other cultures here.
Let's take a look at Rumi, our main diva of the movie. Her character design is all about statements meant to draw the eye. From her yellow crop jacket that gives off a military-inspired silhouette thanks to its exaggerated shoulders and the inclusion of the asymmetrical spiked shoulder armor, all the way to her now iconic purple dragon tail braid. Everything about her style exudes power and confidence,
which actually functions as a great counterpoint to her emotional journey throughout the movie.
Also, can I just ask, like, her hair is insanely long. How is her neck okay? Like, my hair is very long. And after I take a shower, it's just like I step out of the shower with the wet hair and my neck just goes. Anyway, back to the video. The movie's director, Maggie Kang, who also created the original idea for the film, has said in multiple interviews that her inspiration for Huntrix's design came from K-pop icons like ITZY, Blackpink, and Twice, and that inspiration is the most obvious with Rumi.
Rumi also shares a lot of similarities with Blackpink's Jennie, specifically from one of my favorite eras, Kill This Love. Hit you with that do-do-do-do-do. Jennie not only rocked a very similar looking braid, but her arguably most iconic look of the era hit all the same elements as Rumi's.
From the tactical inspired accessories that feel very Lara Croft and that look like they would fit right into Rumi's closet. I mean, high neck sleeveless crop tops paired with high-waisted shorts are worn by Rumi multiple times throughout the movie.
And you know that the mugs are mugging, baby. And like Jennie in that era, most of these looks are paired with some type of combat boot.
Listen, we all know I love a boot moment, and yes, this is only part of my boot collection. However, the addition of combat boots really gives Rumi a very modern aura.
You see, in the early 2000s, popular groups like Girls' Generation typically wore high heels. Very, very high heels. Respect. It was a time of hyper-femininity, both in K-pop and pop music as a whole. But as time went on and fashion evolved, so did popular footwear. This meant a rise in boots and sneakers as streetwear moved from niche into mainstream. Rumi also seems to take some inspiration from Alexa's villain look. I mean, the white outfit, the purple hair, are we seeing the vision here? Then we have Zoe, the writer, the rapper, the living embodiment of me when these scripts are not coming together.
I might as well just tear these off.
While it's clear that Zoe does take some inspiration from Lisa of Blackpink, wow, this is like the third episode in a row that we're talking about Lisa? What an icon. The majority of her look appears to be inspired by Choyoung from Twice. From both of them being writers to the blunt bangs, the buns, and the overall, well, essence of the character, the inspiration is clear. I mean, just look at this comparison made by a Threads user. It's undeniable. They share a feminine yet edgy style that balances cute detailing mixed with more masculine streetwear. However, if you zoom in and take a closer look at Zoe's outfit from how it's done, you may notice one other Easter egg: the suspenders. This is very likely a nod to Kara, another girl group that premiered in 2007. Specifically, it's a reference to their Mr. era. In the music video, as well as a number of performances and promotions for the albums that featured it, the group wore crop tops paired with cargo pants, sneakers, and yes, suspenders. I mean, check, 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 and check. And then we have Mira.
Which, let me just say right now, okay? If I am anyone in this movie, I am Mira. Or like, maybe Sussy the Bird. But I am not Mystery. Okay, you hear me, horoscope accounts on the internet? I am not Mystery.
Mira is the wild child of the group, with a style to match, though matching her style inspirations was a little more tricky. Listen, a lot of K-pop idols have sported similar outfits and hairstyles over the years. You have Rosie and Jisoo from Blackpink, Giselle from aespa, and even Yeji and Yoona from ITZY. They've all had their Mira moment. However, we were just looking in the wrong place. One of the first instances we see of Mira in the movie is on the Met Gala red carpet in that unforgettable sleeping bag ensemble, which we do later see the Sasha Boys recreate. Instead of the stage, we need to turn our attention to the runway. Unlike her group mates, Mira is modeled after a, well, model. Model An So-yeon, who director Maggie Kang has admitted to being a huge fan of, is known for her experimental style and more laid-back day-to-day aesthetic. The resemblance? Uncanny. The vibes? Immaculate. And as a group, their looks pay homage to all of the idols that paved the way. Their looks from the final song What It Sounds Like look to be a combination of two groups. First are the Twice outfits from The Fields. These include a similar mix of white and gold, a use of belts, and of course, boots. The other seems to be ITZY's outfits from Mafia in the Morning. Again, it's very monochromatic white and very military-inspired silhouettes. Check the chains as well as the jackets with very similar shoulder embellishments. And then you have what I consider to be their best looks of the movie, the ones from Golden. Once again, we see that military, almost marching band inspired silhouette. And it actually seems to call back to one of the greats, 2NE1, circa their Crush era. Ugh. We stand. Though Huntrix's looks were almost very different. Rather than taking inspiration from K-pop, early concept art shows that they were almost inspired by Korean history. These looks are a modern spin on the traditional hanbok, which consists of a coat and top paired with either a skirt or trousers. White hanbok, similar to what we see in parts of the concept art, were once considered to symbolize purity, light, and the sun, which does play into a lot of the themes of the movie. But even though they changed their looks, they didn't lose all that history. Their current designs still have plenty of subtle nods to traditional Korean iconography. For example, the little prints you see on their outfits, especially on Rumi's jacket, are directly inspired by Daejeon, which is a colorful art style found on many ancient Korean temples. And those little charms that are hanging off of the girl's belt, those are known as norige, decorative knotted pendants that historically were customized to match their owner's unique style, which these certainly do. We see see something similar again in the bracelet that Rumi gives to Jinu, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we can talk about the boys, we need to pay our respects to the OGs. Nowadays, when we talk about K-pop music, we tend to think of the modern K-pop group. However, the K-pop music that we know today is actually pretty recent in the grand scheme of things.
It first started getting mainstream popular in the 1990s with groups like Seo and Boys and SES. This new wave of music blended Korean culture with American pop and hip-hop.
And it changed music forever. For the better. I mean, I don't want to live in the timeline where K-pop didn't happen. That would actually be the worst timeline. Imagine all of this going on without K-pop. Evie, can you imagine? Can you imagine? No, it would be a horrible timeline. But before K-pop was K-pop, Korea still had iconic music, and we get to see a speedrun of it in the movie.
While the scene is almost a blink and you'll miss it moment, as we learn about the Hanmoon, we see flashbacks to all the girl groups that came before Huntrix.
And their amazing looks inspired by their specific decade. So let's take a journey through time, starting with the most recent.
The Sunlight Sisters appear to be from the 1990s, as evidenced by the fact that they draw major inspiration from OG K-pop groups like Baby Vox and SES. Note the similar bright pastel color schemes, and of course, the hair accessories.
Also, those white pants? So 90s.
Rewind to our next two groups. The first is dressed in a very mod style. This includes that bright color blocking paired with accessories like white gloves, thick belts, and of course, headbands to go with those beehive and bob hairstyles. And then our next group is clearly inspired by the 40s and early 50s, with their victory rolls and their fitted dresses that include details like sharp shoulders, button closures, and belts used to accentuate the waist.
Both groups also seem to give a nod to the Kim sisters, who were pretty much the Blackpink of their time period. No, really.
Not only were the Kim sisters huge in Korea, they were able to cross over to America, which, let me tell you, was extremely hard to do. They even appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show over 20 times.
Which is the equivalent of like Blackpink being on Hot Ones right now.
Go ahead.
But back to our timeline. Our next group is from the 1920s.
It's always the easiest decade to clock. The dropped waist, the hairstyles, the headwear, they're all key components of the Jazz Age. And last but not least, we have the first Hunters, whose attire looks like they come straight out of the history books.
In an interview with Screen Rant, Maggie Kang said that she wanted to seamlessly blend this very high-concept K-pop story with traditional Korean culture.
Oh, why don't we play that off of the kind of shaman women from Korean culture?
Shamans, also known as Mu or Mudang,
Yes, like the hippo, but also no, not like the hippo.
would dress in more masculine clothes like we see in the movie, and they protected their communities through song and dance. As Maggie Kang put it,
And there are these amazing women who like kind of threw the first concerts.
That's just like so badass.
it also matches what we see in the movie. When we put the first Hunters side by side with this photo of Mudang Osubak, you can see a number of similarities, especially the hat.
Oh, and speaking of hats, move aside, BTS, because there's a new boy band that's ready to steal our hearts and our souls.
While Huntrix can't be taken down, the Sasha Boys are ready to give them a run for their money. And I don't just mean the Idol Awards. Their style is also off the charts.
And packed with more cultural references than a soda pop has bubbles.
In their human forms, the Sasha Boys are what K-pop fans refer to as flower boys.
Because they're as pretty as a flower. What this actually means is that their appearance is very clean cut. It has soft, delicate features, they're very stylish, and overall they appear very innocent. Even when you can't see their faces. Okay, seriously, do I look like this guy? I don't get it.
Maggie Kang herself says she was heavily inspired by OG K-pop groups like Seo and Boys and HOT. But those OGs don't have all the flair that really makes the Sasha Boys pop. The multicolored hair, the nail polish, and the jewelry definitely steer more towards the modern era of K-pop boy bands.
The soda pop outfits alone have huge callbacks to BTS. I'm talking Boy With Love, DNA, and yes, even Big Festa Energy. However, just like Huntrix, each of the Sasha Boys individually pull from different sources of inspiration for their specific looks.
Romance's design is based on Youngjun from Text. Not only do they share a very specific hairstyle, one that does give the illusion
illusion of a heart shape, hence the name Romance. But Romance's yellow top from the Soda Pop performance also calls back to this fan favorite look. And in his demon form, well, game, set, match. Baby Sasha, you know, the one that looks 12 but has the deepest voice, he's what K-pop fans refer to as the Magne, or youngest member. Magne, like Baby and Zoe, are often the rappers of the group. According to the film's character designer, Baby is directly inspired by BTS's Jimin. Which, yeah, okay, I see it. I really see it. No notes, let's move on to Abby. Named, of course, for, well, if you don't know, then clearly you haven't been on the internet long enough, and I can't be the one to introduce you to that side of the internet. Abby typically wears a Hawaiian shirt throughout the movie, which, as it turns out, has a long history in K-pop fashion, and are seen frequently on performers like BTS, G-Dragon, and EXO. And while Abby does seem to take some inspiration from many ab-forward K-pop stars, the one that stands out to me as the most likely one-to-one inspiration is Wonho, formerly of Monsta X. I mean, if not by his actual style, Abby was definitely inspired by some of Wonho's poses, among other things. And it doesn't hurt that he clearly knows what's up. Yeah, moving on. The next up is... Mystery. My rival, the bane of my existence, the one that everyone on the internet seems to think is just so me? King said in her Forbes interview that Mystery didn't have a one-to-one inspiration. Instead, he was meant to be your general mystery anime boy archetype. Okay, wait. Maybe we do have more in common than I thought. I am totally the mysterious anime boy type. What? I am. However, just because the director herself can't pinpoint one specific inspiration doesn't mean that subconsciously there wasn't one. Case in point, Junji of Only One Of. Not only has Junji rocked a similar hair color to Mystery before, but he is also infamous for one other thing: his vision blocking bangs. I call that mystery solved. Which leaves us with the leading man himself, Jinu. While clearly main character coded and drawing inspiration from a number of leading vocalists across K-pop, he takes the most inspiration from Astro's Cha Young-woo. They both lean towards simple silhouettes featuring button-downs, collared shirts, and casual hoodies. It's the classic leading man look with a modern twist. Approachable, charming, unthreatening, you know, everything a demon should be when trying to defeat their enemy. But since Jinu was meant to have a classic Korean look, he, unlike all the other Sasha Boys, kept the natural dark hair. Kang also cites actor Nam Joo-hook as part of building out Jinu's overall appearance, who just so happens to be known for playing leads in romance-themed K-dramas. Let's see, inspired by romantic leads, classic looks, great singing voice, Jinu seems to check all the boxes for a perfect love interest, while being a huge dork. What? I call it like I see it. Jinu has huge tuxedo mask energy. There, I said it. We all know it. Of course, that's just their human looks. Your idols have a dark side, and their demon looks contain even more hidden meanings and ties to Korean culture. Looking closely, the Sasha Boys' demon wardrobe appears heavily inspired by the Joseon dynasty, which spanned from 1392 to 1910. This was a key moment of Korean history, as it helped set the foundation not just for the modern Korean language, but for much of its current culture. Which makes sense considering the architecture and clothes that we saw in Jinu's flashback. I mean, he's supposed to be, what, 400 years old? That would put him smack dab in the Joseon time period. Those now iconic tall, flat-brimmed black hats that we see on both the boys and the bird are known as a gat. Gats were traditionally worn by Korean noblemen and were usually made of bamboo, though they could also be made of reeds, arrowroot, or horsehair depending on the exact time period. And the beaded strings that we see the Sasha Boys wear under their gats are known as the gat strap and were typically made of either ivory or agate. Basically, if you were wearing one of these, you were a big deal. Like, deal with the demon, big deal, apparently. The rest of their outfits look to be the traditional Korean hanbok, which we talked about earlier. While this would typically be paired with a low-cut shoe known as a lee or a he, the Sasha Boys ditched tradition to go for a more modern boot, just like we saw on Huntrix. I'm not judging. I'm just saying that the influencers were influencing. The whole look, from the tip of the hat to the toes of the boots, is giving Jiao Sing Saja, or, as we say in English, Grim Reaper. Which, of course, is what really gave the Sasha Boys their name.
In Korea, the embodiment of death isn't a skeleton dressed in a hooded black cloak, but a man dressed in a hanbok and black gat.
Or maybe as your favorite K-pop group.
But that is only the tip of the K-pop fashion iceberg. This art form has been around for decades, and given the success of K-pop Demon Hunters, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a sequel, prequel, or even a TV series spin-off.
If we do, you know it's going to be filled with even more history, lore, and of course, epic fashion moments inspired by the idols we love.
But hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Keep singing, Soda Pop. Next time on Style Theory.
What the heck is a labubu, and should you even care?